Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into these charts, see what the story is and what it may be. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check the links in the description below for both the Patreon and Discord. Okay, folks, so we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, of course. We're also going to be looking at a few other coins because we are in a couple of long positions here. So Bitcoin, AVAX, Ethereum, Solana, Link, and Cardano. These will be the coins that we are going to focus on in this video as we are long all of them. But let's start with Bitcoin, as this is our leader of the market and also our biggest position in crypto right now. So taking a look at Bitcoin, as we can see, it's been going sideways for quite a while, for past 10 to 14 days. And in my opinion, it's been forming a downward wedge. Okay, I first started taking a look at that possible pattern forming on the 4-hour and 1-hour. So going back to May, I want to say May 15th, May 16th. Yeah, so somewhere around this general area, I was seeing that Bitcoin was possibly painting a downward wedge. So I pulled this trend line from the top here all the way to here and then pulled it out into the future. And going into the future, what do we see? It looks like it's been respected overall pretty well. In the 4-hour, same thing. I am getting a feeling that this is likely going to break out very soon. If it hasn't already started that process now, we'll see. Okay, but this downward wedge looks pretty good, and obviously downward wedges are a bullish pattern, so we want to have a bias towards an upside move. All right, and let me highlight exactly what I'm looking at so it's very clear. All right, so I'm looking at this sort of short-term bullish structure like this. Okay, so hopefully that's clear, makes things very simple. Okay, so take a look at this. All right, so this to me is most likely going to break out bullish and head to my first target zone of about 33,000 to 34,000. All right, and that's where I do see us getting towards this blue line here, and we'll likely start painting a bullish consolidation here. All right, and there's a reason why I do see more upside even past this blue line, and it will likely get us towards that orange line here. All right, and I'm going to get to exactly why I see this happening, why for me this is the most likely pathway. And of course, I'll go over other possible pathways that aren't the most probable, but can definitely still happen, because what do we trade in? Probabilities, not guarantees. All right, so taking a look at this, we're likely going to see a breakout today or tomorrow, and we'll make our move towards 33,000, 34,000. That's where I'm looking to close out partially of our long, and then we may get a bullish flag painting here, another breakout to get us towards the bottom of this larger macro bearish structure. And so this is why I believe it's very likely we're going to see price back at 40,000. Okay, so this large bear flag that took months to paint out, okay, started to break down, so it can validate the pattern by breaking down, getting to this major support zone of 30,000 to 28,900, so that general zone. And from there, we're finding short-term support, and we're likely going to see a nice impulse higher to test the bottom part of this larger bearish structure. Okay, and what that means is, if it plays out to where price gets to the bottom of this pattern and then rejects, it means that this pattern is extremely likely to fully play out. Okay, so the one-to-one move for this bear flag, so if we pull from the top of it here to the bottom of it here, okay, let's see if I can do that correctly. Yep, there we go. And we bring this towards the breakout here, breakdown. We're going to go down towards about 25,000. Okay, so we'll say 25,000 to 24,500 is the one-to-one move for this flag to fully play out. But these macro patterns play out the same as micro patterns. So for a quick example as to why price coming back up to this orange line is not out of the ordinary, it's actually extremely probable, is if you're looking on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, doesn't matter. If let's say you have a bearish structure like this, similar to what we had on the daily here, all right, we have a bear flag and then it breaks down, what tends to happen is price will come back up and test this trend line as resistance and then break down even lower to continue that trend down. Okay, that almost always happens. And on the micro patterns, on the micro time frames, it happens much faster, of course, because it's smaller and it's a shorter time window. Whereas on these large macro patterns, what people tend to forget is these can take months to play out fully. Months. It took months to paint out this entire structure. Why wouldn't it take months to play out the pattern? So if we do have a bullish impulse higher, that doesn't mean that this pattern is now invalidated, that it's all done. Okay, it just means that we're likely going to test the bottom of it, and if we do find resistance off there and sell off of it going lower, then look for new lows that will likely come to continue the macro down structure. Okay, because this structure on a macro level is bearish, so we should expect more downside. But nothing goes straight down, as same as nothing goes straight up. So that's why if we do see a breakout, you're going to see a lot of retail be extremely bullish, because right now they're extremely bearish, right? You go on any of the social medias or any of the big influencers, they're all very bearish. They're saying this is going to lead towards 20,000, sub 20,000, and I believe eventually we probably will see prices at least near there, maybe even sub 20,000. But from this sort of short-term structure, it's not likely. Of course it's possible, anything's possible, but it's not likely. We don't trade that way. If you're here with me, we're trading the highest probabilities we can, right? So that is clearly going to tell us that in the short term, just going off of this wedge pattern, that we should expect upside. If we do break down, we have our levels. 24 to 25,000 is our first major zone to add on to our long, and then a breakage of that, 22,000 to 20,000 is our next major add-on level. All right, 22 to 20,000 should perform extremely well as support, very similar to 30,000 to 28,900. Another level where there should be at least a massive consolidation, if not a nice bounce. So either way, we have our plan. So if you're in the long with me, make sure you control your risk, as I always preach, but also be calm, be patient. We're going to see how this plays out. Right now, the probabilities are on our side if you're long. Okay, especially now that retail is also overly bearish. And once we get to the blue line here, we're going to see a lot more bullish antics going on. You're going to see a lot of people saying this might have been the bottom. So it's possible that this will not play out as a bullish consolidation. It will just start failing and coming lower. That's definitely possible. That's why we are looking to close our long there. We're not going to get greedy. At least we're going to take partial profits there. And if it does break out more, you're going to see big calls for the new bull run, right? You're going to see big calls that this was the bottom. But the whole move is just the playing out of this larger macro structure. So if you're following me, you're following these videos, if we do start seeing this pathway, you're not going to be surprised. You're going to have a generally good idea of what to expect in the near term. So if we get to this orange line, do not expect us to get straight to 50,000, 60,000, 80,000. Start looking for shorts and start looking for major exhaustion signs that we will probably come lower. Okay? All right. So again, if you're along with me, we're targeting 33 to 34,000 for our first take profit levels, to at least take partially. The next levels I'm eyeing is anywhere from 35,000 to 36,000, and then finally as close to the orange line, so around like 38,000, maybe even 39,000 if Bitcoin's showing a lot of strength. Okay, by then I will be completely out, and then I will start looking to possibly open short, starting a short position there. Okay, and if it goes lower, like I said, 24 to 25,000 would be the next add-on level, and then 22 to 20,000 would be the next add-on level from there. Okay, so let's go to Avalanche next. So Avalanche, similar again, another down, like kind of a curling structure, so wedgish, but it's also finding support off of this trend line here. Okay, so this downward trend line here, which we painted, we pulled out quite a long time ago. I want to say sometime during March. And then we saw that, it broke through and it started creating this bearish structure, which I did say was likely going to push us under $50. That's what this structure was meant to do. And that's exactly what it did. So now we can expect that in the short term that we will get a bounce higher, especially if Bitcoin follows through with what we're seeing. And that bounce higher, the first level will be $40 and then ultimately around $50 to $55. That's where you're going to see major resistance, because $50 was a almost a red line in the sand for Avalanche. It's the bottom of the bullish market structure it once had. So now price getting back there to test its resistance is likely going to happen. If it fails off of there, which again is most probable, you will probably see an Avalanche that goes sub 20. Okay, sub 20. Again, it won't be an immediate thing. It won't be just a straight up flush. What you would probably see is some sort of structure like this, gets denied here, comes lower, and then starts painting a bearish structure that's slowly rising to come lower. Okay, that's how these markets work. I've traded long enough, over so many years, over so many different market scenarios, different sentiments. It always works this way. It's not foreign to me. Bearish markets have massive pumps, and then they have grinds lower, okay, until you get the flush out. It's always like that. So let's go to Ethereum next. Oh, and by the way, if you're along with me, $40 is the level I'm looking for. And for the altcoins, I don't have any plans to take partials. I look to close out the full positions. As you know, they're not as big as our Bitcoin position. And it's just, it's best to take the profits where you can, because anything can happen. Luna is a great example. If the market is giving you a nice gain, especially in a bear market, take the money and enjoy those gains. Don't get greedy. So Ethereum, let's take a quick look. So a lot of these structures can be somewhat similar. You got a downward pattern, like a down grind going into support. So you can have a relatively bullish sentiment on that in the short term. So we want to see if price will come up and come back towards at least 2250 to 2300. So that's my general target zone. If it breaks lower, then we're going to use this descending trend line here as our guide. Right, so this will be our guide, that descending trend line. And we can already see this wick came in, tapped it, and then had a really nice bounce back above. And so far, so good. It's been holding about 1800 to 1900. Okay, so we want to see how price, interacts with these levels as it continues on. But we should have a short-term bias to the upside, as long as Bitcoin is continuing that wedge pattern, and as long as Ethereum is holding above 1850 to 1900. Okay. Let's take a quick look at Solana next. So Solana, actually not as bullish looking as Ethereum or Bitcoin or Avalanche in that way. It's a little bit closer to Bitcoin's structure, but not descending as much because of these three candles here. So it does have a bit of an upsloping look. So do not be surprised if you see some short-term selling going into it around $42, maybe even $40 to test this support line and this bottom wick again as support, which again, what does it look like? A descending wedge pattern at that point, going from this trend line here. So let's thicken this trend line out. So take a quick look at this. If we do have a bit of a sell-off for Solana coming into the apex of this possible wedge pattern, then it'll start looking a bit more bullish in the short term. Okay, but if Bitcoin starts breaking out, well, Solana is going to follow Bitcoin as it is the major mover of the market. These work like indexes, so if Bitcoin moves up, most coins are going to follow, based off their respective percentages of the index. Okay, so if it does break up higher, first level you want to look at is about $60, and then definitely $75 to $80 is going to be massive resistance, and that would be a great place to open up short. I'm a little skeptical it gets there, but it definitely can. And again, if it does, we can start a possible short position, and if it goes higher, then we just add on. That's why it's, in my opinion, it's the safest and easiest way to trade consistently profitably is by separating your orders, DCA into positions, and obviously that helps you control your risk, and it does help you control leverage as well. So if you're using leverage and you're using a smaller account, or you're divvying up your bigger account into smaller positions, you'll find that the stress level and the leverage really starts. You really feel like you're in control. And so, I obviously recommend at least doing something that I do. You may not want to divvy it up as small as I do. You may not have a large enough account to do it that way, but at least break it up a little bit. That way, if price goes against you, you're not out of the trade. It's just an opportunity to make your position better. Okay. So, watch for Solana to break maybe a little bit lower, but if it follows Bitcoin and Bitcoin starts having a nice breakout of that wedge, don't be surprised you see short term about $60. Okay. Okay, let's take a quick look at Link. So Link, similar to Solana, you know, has a bit of an upward sort of a structure. So a little bit more, definitely a little bit more bearish compared to, you know, like an Avalanche or Ethereum. So I won't be surprised if it does come lower. But again, it will follow Bitcoin. That's for sure. Link, clearly, I mean, I would start targeting about $8 to like $8.20 would be the first level that you want to see. But Link has a lot of has a lot of room to the upside. I actually think it can come all the way towards $10 or $9.80 to get towards this descending blue trend line here. Okay, that looks very good to be tested and then continue lower. Okay, to continue lower because Link structurally is in some, you know, it's in a pretty bad spot. Link is in a pretty bad spot because $5.10, this general area is going to be a massive floor for it. Okay, there's going to be a lot of defense there. So if it's not held at that level, you're going to see you can see extremely low value Link, maybe even sub $1 because under $5 there's really not much. There's not much there. Okay, so I expect this whole area to be held for a long time. Okay, and $5 will be lost on Link if Bitcoin starts breaking under the 25. Well, I would say $24,000 to $22,000 mark. So if Bitcoin's getting towards 20,000, I think you're going to be seeing sub $5 Link. But I don't see that right now. But if Bitcoin has other plans, then it will happen. All right, so let's take. Oh, and before I go off of Link, I do want to say my target area. I am looking for $8 at least, but depending on how Solana and Avalanche perform, if I sell those first and they made a pretty decent position, a pretty decent amount of profit, I may give Link a little bit more room to try and get towards the the $9, maybe even $10 mark. I have to give this a little bit of time, but $8 to $8.10 is, I'm fairly content with that, but I would like to maybe squeeze out a little bit more, but it's very dependent if I can close out Solana and or Avalanche prior to Link. Okay, so we have to just watch and see. So for Cardano similar, excuse me, similar to Link, Solana has that upward sort of structure, so it's not as bullish looking in the short term. Okay, so but again, another triangle pattern, a wedge pattern. So we want to err on the side of bullish because Bitcoin is showing more bullish sentiment in the short term, at least for smart money. So we do want to see if this will have another breakdown prior to Bitcoin's move, or if this is just going to turn up as Bitcoin goes up. Okay, either way, if Bitcoin starts turning up and making its way towards 34,000, I do see Cardano getting towards at least 60 cents to 63 cents, and then an eventual move all the way to 78 to 80 cents. I think Cardano can have an absolute massive move towards 80 cents. Cardano's extremely oversold. I think it really is likely going to have a nice move up towards 80 cents. But once it gets there, I think you can exit out. I think it's you want to be on the side that you're likely going to get some significant downside on Cardano. Especially, this is all predicated if Bitcoin starts showing weakness at these key levels of 34,000 or 40,000. If Bitcoin's showing absolute strength and just rocketing past these levels, well, of course, expect that the altcoins will likely follow. But that scenario is extremely unlikely. But the first level I would be looking at is anywhere from 60 to 64, 65 cents. Like, this is the zone I'm probably going to close out our position, unless I have very low exposure because I've closed out, let's say, Avalanche, Ethereum, Solana, and Link, and I'm only in Cardano and Bitcoin. Then I'll definitely give it room to try and get to 70, 75 cents, something like that. Okay. And I think that's about it. I don't really want to go over anything else. The story hasn't changed for most of these coins. All right. Again, it's all about Bitcoin right now. We just have to wait and see how this structure plays out. And again, if it starts breaking down from here, then the next level we're going to watch to see is if it's going to hold, this bottom wick level here. All right. If it can hold that bottom wick level here, it's technically a larger wedge pattern forming, and then like kind of a double bottom, and then we may have another breakout. And again, the levels are still the same, 33 to 34K. All right. So I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to go over. All right. Hope everyone's having a great day. Sorry I've been on vacation, so I've been a little bit sporadic, not as consistent, but things will start getting back into the routine as I'm just about back now. Remember, if you have any questions for me, you can always DM me, or you can just openly ask on the Discord if you think other people will also benefit from that question being answered. And remember, if you really want to learn how to do this yourself, so you don't have to keep depending on me, look into the tutorings. Again, they're very effective, very, very effective. I can usually clean up a lot of issues for most people in about a session or two. And then give me 4 sessions, and I can tell you this right now, you'll probably start seeing an immediate increase in success. Okay, of course, things don't get easier, they just get clearer, and then the long journey is discipline. It's definitely discipline, but there are key strategies when dealing with price action, time, and levels that really can be immediately adopted, and you can see a difference quite quickly. Okay, all right, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care.